Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Needville Global Methodist Church's YouTube channel. Hope you're having a wonderful week. This is our weekly Bible study that is produced on Wednesdays at noon. If you haven't done so already, I do encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below and hit the like button on the video. That makes sure that you get all of the updates on our page. We have at least 2 videos going on every week with the sermon on Sundays, the Bible study here on Wednesdays, and then every once in a while there will be some extra stuff that go along with the church here on the channel. So a subscription really does help you keep up with what's going on here at the church. The like, of course, is to tell me A, that you like the video, and B, it helps to keep our videos going to as many people as possible, which is exactly what we want, so that all people can see the messages and hear a word from God through what's posted here. The final thing I will ask of you, go ahead and drop a comment down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me know what's going on with you. Let me know how this video affected you, whether you liked it, didn't like it, something that I could change or do differently. I'm always looking to get better and better at this. So please, if you have any questions about the study that we're doing or anything you want us to talk about or anything else, please use that comment section down below. Let me know what you think. We are starting this week on a brand new Bible study called the Hall of Faith. This is a study that really kind of goes through, as the title kind of shows, the Hall of Faith, kind of Hall of Fame, as it were. We're going to be looking at a lot of different characters throughout the Bible and talking about what their stories mean to us in the Christian faith, mean to us as we work through our own lives and our own journeys. And so we're going to be going through different people through the Bible. Most of them you probably already know. And we're just going to be looking at them, looking at their stories, and trying to talk about how their stories, how their faith, how their belief can affect how we live and believe ourselves. So today we're starting at the very beginning of the Bible in Genesis, and we're starting with Noah. Now, Noah is a good story. I love reading the story of Noah for a number of different reasons, not the least of which the fact that, to me, the story of Noah is one of the best examples in the entirety of the Bible. And granted, there's truckloads of them, but it's one of the best examples, at least for me, of seeing how God's plan is just so detailed, how detail oriented he really is, even as big and as massive as he is, as the creator of all things. He thinks down to even the smallest details when he's putting together his plan, which always brings me comfort, because of course I don't know 99% of those plans, right? But it gives me comfort when I think about needing to take that step of faith, that leap of faith to go down the path that God's placed in front of me. When I remember the story of Noah, I remember that if God can take care of all of those small details, he's got my details worked out too. But we'll get to that in a second, because that's one of my points that we're going to talk about today with Noah. But as we go through the story, you can go read the story of Noah. There's a couple different things, a couple different passages that you can read. I'm not going to sit here and read all of them to you, but you can certainly open up your Bible to Genesis and read some of them. We're going to be in the 6th chapter of Genesis, verse 1 through 21. You can then go read Genesis 8, verses 20 to 22, and then you can go and read Genesis 9, verses 1 through 16. That will give you a general overview of the story of Noah. If you wish to read all of that, you are more than welcome to do so. But those are the particular pieces that will give you a lot of insight into the story of Noah. Now, that being said, the couple things I do want to point out when we talk about Noah, let's get into those. First and foremost, God loves all of his creation. All right, that's first and foremost thing that you should get from the story of Noah. Story of Noah starts off with God is angry, right? God that looks down on the earth, he sees that it's evil, he sees that it doesn't know him, he sees that it's wayward, right? But then he finds Noah. And through Noah, he goes, okay, everything else is not going the way that I had intended. Everything else is going wrong. Have you ever had that experience before where you've been working on a project and it seems like everything you do, everything that you've thought about, everything that you had a plan for is just going the wrong way? And there's always that moment where you think to yourself, is it really worth it to continue? Or should I just scrap the whole thing and start over fresh? That's kind of where God is with the earth at this point. He's like, he's looking around and he's going, okay, we started in Eden. They didn't do the right thing, but I really thought that the punishment that I felt that I had there would get them to, to turn around and turn from their ways and follow me and everything else. And he looks around and he's like, I got nothing. No one's doing what they're supposed to do. Nothing's working the way that it's supposed to work. Everything's going the wrong way. And he's looking at it going, man, I guess it's time to scrap it and start over again. But then he finds Noah. And through Noah, every single creature on the earth is saved. 2 by 2, right? 2 by 2, every animal on the earth, male and female, on the ark, all at the same time, saved by the flood. This should teach us one thing about God, that there is not a single creature on the earth that he does not care about immensely. I've always made the joke, living in Houston for most of my life. Mosquitoes have always been a plague on my life. I've always had to deal with them. And I've always made the joke that when I get to heaven and I get to talk to God, one of my first questions is, why didn't you have Noah kill those 2 stupid mosquitoes on the ark? And then we wouldn't have had to deal with them. But the fact of the matter is that every single creature is loved by God. He has a purpose and a point to every single creature, even if we don't know it. He does. And he has a love for each and every one of his creatures. And he proves it. He could have easily saved Noah and his family. He could have easily told Noah, okay, go find a couple of the animals that are around you, save them and save yourselves. But no, he wants every species on the planet to survive the flood. And so he waits until Noah is able to collect 2 of every single animal. Now, that leads me into the second point. It was one of the things that I was talking about earlier about God's plan, right? Go read those passages again, and you find that God didn't just tell Noah, okay, go find some wood, build an ark. No, 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 no. When God tells Noah to build an ark, he gives him everything. He tells them how to make what kind of wood to use. He tells them how to make the nails. He tells them the exact size and measurement of the ark. He tells him everything down to the smallest of details. And as I said before, this is why I love the story of Noah and why it is such a powerful story, at least for me, when I'm doubting, when I'm questioning, when I'm wondering what I'm supposed to be doing, or maybe it's the more the fact of I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like everything's going the right way. It doesn't seem like I want to know more about it. But when I read the story of Noah, I recognize the fact that if God can put that kind of detail together to the point where he knew what kind of wood, he knew what size of everything in order to accommodate every single creature, then yeah, I think he can figure out my life. Yeah, I think when he calls me to do something, he's got it figured out as to why that's the thing that I need to do, or why that's the place I need to go, or why that's the person I need to talk to. And he's already got it all laid out. I don't need the full explanation from him because I know that he's got it. I trust that he has it. Right? Ark is the perfect size to hold everything. Yeah, his plan is calculated. Trust me. Third thing in the Noah story. This is a reinstitution of the Garden of Eden. Think back with me to Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, the creation stories of Genesis, right? In both creation stories, God tells to humans the same thing. It's yours, right? He gives creation over to humankind, telling the humans, you are the pinnacle of the creation. You get to name all the creatures. You're in charge of all the creatures. You are responsible for all the creatures. That was in the Garden of Eden, right? Man eats the fruit, falls, no longer in Eden. So God takes Noah's story and decides, okay, I'm going to reinstitute the promise that was made in Eden. I don't know if it's necessarily the fact that the promise in Eden was necessarily specific for Eden, in which case God needed to make the promise for the rest of creation, or if God was reinstituting it for our benefit as humans, that we would not forget that, oh, by the way, I promised you, I gave you this. But at the end of the day, it's the same idea. After the ark, God tells Noah, look, Noah, your family, your sons and whatnot, you as humans are the pinnacle of creation. You are the tip top. That doesn't mean you get to lord it over creation. That means you're responsible for creation. That means you're responsible to take care of the animals and the insects and the air flying creatures and the swimming creatures, and you're responsible for all of them. And God tells us there will be a reckoning. There will be judgment on how you did. Now, in the story, that doesn't mean that we're all supposed to become vegans. It doesn't mean we're not allowed to hunt, and doesn't mean we're not allowed, do any of that kind of stuff. There's plenty of stuff in the story, in the scriptures, and even in Noah's story, where we find that, yes, part of taking care of the creatures is, yeah, you can go have a hamburger, you can go, eat a steak, you can go have fish, you can go do all that kind of stuff. You can eat, because that's part of making sure that you stay healthy and whatnot. But what it does also mean is that we are to take care of the earth around us to the best of our abilities. We are to take care of the creatures around us and make sure that they have good lives. That is our responsibility as human beings. That is our responsibility of being the pinnacle, because yet again, we are to act as God acts. God is the ultimate being, right? He is at the pinnacle, right? We can all agree about that. And yet, what does he do? He sends his son to be servant of all. If the God who created all things can send his son to be the servant of all people, what does he expect us to do when we're the pinnacle of creation, but be the servant of all of creation? Not just a servant of each other, but servants of creation. That's what we're supposed to do. So this reinstitution of Eden is yet another piece of saying, look, yes, you're in creation. Yes, you are the pinnacle of that creation, but you have responsibility for that role to take care of the creation that's around you. The final piece, and I think it's an important one, especially in the world that we live in today, is the covenant that comes from the story of Noah. Now, most of us know what the covenant is, right? Rainbow in the sky, promise of no more floods. Two things I want to say about this. First and foremost, I want to say that while God promises that he's not going to flood the earth again, There is nothing in there that says that he's not going to end the earth. We know that there will come a time when God will end the earth, but it won't be in flood. It'll be in fire. He will purify. He will bring about the end to rebuild Jerusalem at the end, right? We know that's how it works. And our hope is in God, that he will finish that task, and that we, as the faithful, as those who have chosen him, after he's, of course, chosen us, we will get to live in that city. So the promise of God is, I won't flood the earth again, but that's not the end. It is a promise, though. And just so that you know, it says it a couple times in the scriptures. God says, I will see the rainbow and I will remember. Making this idea that maybe God forgets, but that's not really the case. The point of it was that we would see it and we would remember that God had promised to not do this again. God had promised to not open the floodgates like that again. Finally, I want to say this one last piece about the rainbow, because it's important in the world that we live in. Most of you have probably seen, whether you watched annual conferences through the United Methodist Church when we were still part of them, or just seeing it on the streets or anything else. This past month of June, as I'm almost finished with it, is now dubbed Pride Month. And so the LGBTQ pride flags have been flown. TV shows have been put on. It's over everything, right? And the symbol that they have garnered probably the most attention with, although it's not the only symbol, is the rainbow. I want to say this as emphatically and as poignantly as I possibly can. The rainbow is not meant for one group of people, period. It is not a symbol for LGBTQ plus rights or anything else. It is a symbol that signifies the covenant between God and his entire creation. A covenant that says, I love all of creation enough to say, I will never do this again. I will never flood the earth again. It is not a symbol for one people, one group, or one idea. It is a symbol for a covenant of God between him and creation. To identify and say that a symbol like that, a covenant like that, is only geared towards one group of people, is to put words in the mouth of God, is to change the purpose and to rewrite the scriptures, all of which no one has the power to do.